What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you come in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a recent post that came across my timeline, right? And I know a little while ago, I made a video speaking about LeBron James, like who was greater, LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, right? And a lot of people talking about LeBron James and comparing him to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. When I don't even think that LeBron James is, in my opinion, in the same class with Tim Duncan. And a lot of people, I think a lot of people are really coming to this realization that LeBron James is not like, he's not up to what Tim Duncan is. And not because Tim Duncan had 5 rings and LeBron has 4. It's just that, when it mattered, and I'm gonna read something that came across my timeline. When it mattered, Tim Duncan, beat LeBron James, and so, all this GOAT talk when you comparing LeBron James to Kobe Bryant, LeBron James to Michael Jordan, it to me is I don't know. I guess it's for clicks and views because LeBron James can't even really measure up to Tim Duncan, and a lot of times I don't even think Tim Duncan really get enough credit, that he deserved because Tim Duncan was a bad dude. And so let me read this post that came across my timeline to somebody. And they said, let's stop pretending LeBron is chasing Jordan when he never caught Tim Duncan, right? That in itself right there is a true statement. Tim Duncan owned LeBron every time it mattered. A 21-15 record, a let me see, an 11-5 record, playoff record, a clean sweep of a 22-year-old LeBron James in the finals. Now, y'all remember that, right? LeBron James, when LeBron James took the Cavaliers to the finals, and it wasn't even a contest, like the game wasn't even the series was not even close. Tim Duncan just swept them. Tim Duncan and the Spurs swept them, right? Let me see. And Duncan did it again in 2014, dismantling LeBron's handpicked Miami super team and exposing the facade. And I know y'all remember that when LeBron James went to Miami and he was talking about not one, not two, not, like they was going to get down there and just run off a whole bunch of championships. And it didn't work out like that. Again, Tim Duncan beat him, in the championship. That was two head-to-head meetings with Tim Duncan. And even with LeBron, even then he had Dwayne Wade and he had Chris Bosh, and they still couldn't, do anything with Tim Duncan. All right, so let me see. Tim Duncan didn't chase rings, didn't team hop, didn't need to beg all the stars to save him. He stayed loyal to one franchise and walked away with 5 championships, 3 finals MVPs, 2 league MVPs, and let me see, and was one Ray Allen miracle away from being 6-0 in the finals like Michael Jordan. Now that's crazy, right? Because remember that shot that Ray Allen hit in the corner. If Ray Allen misses that shot, then the Spurs probably do go on to beat the Miami Heat then, right? Now I wouldn't call it a miracle shot because Ray Allen Ray Allen is a shooter. It was a 3-pointer. So I wouldn't call it a miracle shot. I can see if he shot it from like the other end of the court, or like a 75-foot jump or something like that. He heaved the 75 feet and then it went in. I wouldn't call it a miracle. I just, he just hit a good, he just hit a 3, a clutch 3 that they needed, right? Meanwhile, LeBron needed full roster control, coaching leverage, and superstar help. and still ended up with more finals losses than wins, and so that's the thing, man. I don't know what people are judging as far as like when it comes to these championships, because like what Tim Duncan did in the finals and what he did throughout his career just really makes LeBron James' career just look like, I wouldn't say nothing, because LeBron do have 4 rings, and I'm not going, eh, you know, and I'm not going to really downplay his rings, except for the what's the one he won in that bubble. In my opinion, I think LeBron. Some people say he has one legitimate ring, and that was the one where he led the Cleveland Cavaliers to their first championship, right? But I didn't like the way he got those rings in Miami, but he got them, so they still count. It's not like they didn't play anybody to get them. So I just say he got 3 legitimate rings. One ring should have an asterisk beside it, though. And so what this and so this article also goes on to say Duncan led with discipline, dominated with fundamentals, and built a legacy without theatrics and excuses. Right. And basically that's what it was, man. You just saw that he didn't just go from team to team. Whatever the organization put around Tim Duncan, that's what he did. That's the guys that he strapped up with and the guys that he went to battle with. But that wasn't the case with LeBron James. LeBron James had to float from team to team. Leadership, loyalty, legacy, winning. Duncan clears. LeBron doesn't, and that's the conversation Bron fans refuse to have, which is true. Every time we put LeBron James up against somebody else, I mean, he lose. You put him up against Mike, he lose. You put him up against Kobe, he lose. You put him up against Magic, he lose. Especially because the thing that hurts LeBron James, the fact that he never really, only one time did he really build his own team. Everything else was hopping from team to team so he could put himself in a better position to win. And what he failed to realize is that the best thing he could have done was to improve his game the whole time, do what everybody else did, every off season get better. And we never saw that from LeBron James. LeBron James never developed a mid-range game. LeBron James never developed a low post game. And so it wasn't like over the years a whole lot of improvement. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why LeBron James just gets so much pushback. When he in this GOAT conversation, when he in what was that 2016, Cleveland beat Golden State, and LeBron said, that's what put him over the top. That's what made him the GOAT. That's what I mean. That's what started all of this. What's going on now? That GOAT conversation, and then he only had 3 rings, right? And he put himself in a GOAT conversation. Like that right there is what made me the greatest. Nobody else that considers themselves the greatest even says that. They don't even bring up that conversation. They don't even put themselves in that conversation. Not Kobe, not Mike, not Magic, not Bird, not Tim Duncan. Like everybody else refused to have that conversation. Everybody else refused to put themselves in in that conversation. And the one guy who do put himself in there just didn't dominate like the rest of the guys who was in there. And there's so many players that came through the league that I would take before I took LeBron James. Just because of the skills and the mindset and the toughness that these other guys have, I would just take them before LeBron James. So I don't know like what's going to happen like at the end of his career, if they're going to continue, if the league and the media people are going to continue to allow LeBron James to dominate this this type of this conversation like this about the GOAT era and stuff like that. When you had only people who really buying into this GOAT thing with LeBron James is probably people who didn't have an opportunity to see, like the people who came into the league and started following basketball with LeBron James, young people, people who don't know any better. But if you had an opportunity to see those guys, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and all those guys, man, and like I said, Magic, Mike, and Bird, if and then you would know, you'll have a frame of reference about like what was good basketball, what it took to win championships, like what it took to how you had to get better every year. Like even if you won a championship, you had to come back better the next year because now you're getting everybody's best game. You got a target on your back, and everybody want to take you down. That was the whole thing. Not to move from team to team so you could team up with whoever, the best players or the top 5 players in the league. That wasn't it. That's not how they were doing it. And so, like I said, Tim Duncan, in my opinion, did it the right way. He got 5 rings, and nothing really nobody can take away from Tim Duncan. You know what? And I did a video about Tim Duncan comparing him to Kobe Bryant. And I would personally take Tim Duncan's career over Kobe Bryant's career. He wasn't no flashy guy or anything like that, no rah-rah type of guy. He just showed up and did what he needed to do to win and led his team to 5 championships. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video.